Thank you, Gerda, to calm down the plenary. Your Excellency Zenebu Tadesse, Minister of Women, Children and Youth of Ethiopia, Mr. Kanayu Nwansi, President of IFAD, Mr. Gerda Verbung, Ambassador of Kingdom of Netherlands, Ms. Temina Jamjua, Ambassador of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Ms. Lani Eugenia, Secretary General of Indonesia Farmers and Fisheries Society Organization, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. This is the official launch of the joint program of UN Women, FAO, WFP and IFAD to promote the economic empowerment of rural women. The agencies involved in this program share the belief that the empowerment is crucial to guarantee food security. This joint program is also a concrete example of our willingness to work together. We believe that by joining our efforts, we can achieve better results. This program was presented last month in New York in a parallel event during the United Nations General Assembly. Today's event allows us to share this new initiative with members of the Rome-based agencies and other partners here. FAO has long recognized the diversity of roles that women play in rural economics and in food value chains. This includes the activity both on the off and on the farm, with the crucial guaranteeing adequate nutrition for their families. Women already play such an important role. Imagine what they could do if they had more opportunities to make a bigger difference in the lives of their families, communities, and countries. For this reason, FAO is considering this joint program as an integral part of its work, directly linked to the 5 strategic objectives we are working on. As you may know, FAO this year started the strategic thinking process that we just finished, present 5 objectives that need to be approved by the next Council. In addition to the 5 strategic objectives, we have 2 cross-cutting objectives, which is governance and women, trying to promote these 2 issues that we believe are crucial for all food security program in the world. We committed to building the capacity of rural women to contribute to nutrition and food security by increasing their productivity and incomes and facilitating their economic autonomy. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenge ahead of us is great, but not impossible. Experience tells us that a range of intervention is required. Rural employment is a top priority. Initiatives to reduce hunger and poverty need to focus on improving decent employment opportunities for the rural poor, especially women and young. This is why FAO attaches such importance to expanding opportunities for women in areas like food processing, distribution, and marketing. At the same time, FAO actively works to provide adequate and social protection to those who need it most. FAO's experience shows that good policy and programs can make a huge difference, but sporadic fixes here and there are not enough. FAO responsibility is to help put in place strategies to promote rural development and women work. It is my hope and belief that this joint program will contribute significantly to this goal, so that men, women and children everywhere can lead better lives in the rural areas. To end, I want to once again thank you all for your presence and invite you to watch the message that the UN Women Executive Director, Presidenta Michelle Bachelet, sent to us today. The video?
I bring you greetings from all of us at UN Women. We are proud to launch our joint program on accelerating progress towards the economic empowerment of rural women. All over the world, rural women work long hours as farmers, laborers, entrepreneurs, and unpaid family workers, both in the farms and households. The majority of them are smallholder farmers, constituting 43% of the agricultural labor force in developing countries. They provide water, fuel, food, and income to sustain their families, their communities, and their nations. They fill empty plates and hungry bellies, while they themselves are often running on empty. You see, rural women aren't underperforming because their productivity is low. They are overperforming given the limited resources they have at their disposal. Together, we can change that through laws that promote equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal participation, so they can feed their children more and sell their goods at the market, through better policies so they can benefit from trade and finance and make a strong contribution to inclusive economic growth, through basic services so they can work with less risk to their health and have a bank account and access to energy and clean water, and through a better division of labor so they can have more time to do a better job on all the work they do at home, in the fields, in the markets, and in the workplace. Through this program, we will deliver as one so rural women can lift themselves out of poverty. We will expand innovative models that work, building on the respective strengths of our agencies: FAO's policy assistance on agriculture and food security, IFAD's rural investment programs, WFP's food assistance innovation, and UN Women's technical expertise on women's economic empowerment. When women are empowered and can claim their rights and access to land, leadership, opportunities, and choices, economies grow. Food security is enhanced, and prospects are improved for current and future generations. This is why I appeal to you as a representative of government, civil society, and the business community for your partnership and strong support to make this program a success. Thank you.
I now would like to give the floor to Ms. Kozin, Executive Director, WFP.
Thank you, Mr. Director General. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you to this launch of the Joint Program for Rural Women of the 39th session of the Committee on World Food Security. And on this occasion of the International Day of Rural Women, there's no better day to launch this program than today. We are grateful to Canada and the United States of America for co-sponsoring this event. We're also pleased to have the active involvement of the representative of the Rome Women's Network, which is very personally pleasing for me to see you all here today. I would like to tell you about our joint program to empower rural women, a program that will be implemented in Ethiopia, Guatemala, Kyrgyzstan, Liberia, Nepal, Niger, and Rwanda. We know that rural women and girls are at the heart of global food and nutrition security. They are the main producers, processors, traders of food, and they are responsible for most of the production in developing countries. And most importantly, they are responsible for feeding our children. Realizing the full productive potential of rural women is essential for their economic empowerment and offers a major opportunity to boost food and nutrition security. This is a task that no single actor, no single organization can accomplish alone. This joint program for rural women is an example of how we must effectively collaborate across our organizations, leveraging both our collective, collaborative advantage and the unique expertise of each of our organizations for the benefit of the populations we aim to serve. As Director General Graziano da Silva has just said, these joint efforts strive to achieve 4 outcomes for rural women. Permit me just a minute to provide some details about what the World Food Program brings to this partnership and why we are so excited to be a part of it. We, the WFP, have a global field presence with a proven record of support to vulnerable people, especially women and children. In 2011, WFP provided food assistance to over 99 million people in 75 countries, 84% of them women and children. We provided school meals and take-home rations to 23 million school children, half of them girls. And we worked with local food management committees that included 194,000 women in leadership positions. Nearly 4 million household food entitlements for general food distributions were issued in women's names. Our innovative Purchase for Progress initiative buys locally produced food from smallholder farmers, especially women. P4P helps connect these women to markets, supports fair prices for their agricultural produce, and encourages them to increase the quantity and improve the quality of their harvest. Through P4P, more than 47,000 women have received training in improved production, post-harvest handling, and other key agribusiness skills. More than 800 farmers' organizations representing over 1 million farmers, half of them in Ethiopia alone, participate in P4P in 20 countries. Over 360 of these farmers' organizations have already sold food to WFP. So that was just a quick overview of WFP's role in this exciting joint initiative. Now, if our keynote speaker is here, then she is. Thank you very much. It is my honor to introduce today's keynote speaker, Her Excellency Ms. Zenabu Tadesse, Minister of Women, Children, and Youth Affairs of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and a member of Ethiopia's parliament. The minister previously served as State Minister at the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs from 2005 to 2010. Prior to this, she served as head of the Bureau of Labor and Social Affairs in the Amara National Regional State from 2001 to 2005. She has made significant contributions to the development of labor and social policies of Ethiopia, with emphasis on improving social welfare and the protection of women and children's rights. She is a devoted advocate for improving the lives of disadvantaged people. She has engaged in high-level policymaking for over 15 years. Your Excellency, Madam Minister, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Executive Director. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Women, Children and Youth Affairs at the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, and on my own behalf, it's indeed a great pleasure and honor for me to participate in the launch of the joint program Accelerating Progress Toward the Economic Empowerment of Rural Women. This joint program of the UN Women, FAO, IFAD, and WFP demonstrates the commitment of the UN family to empower rural women and contribute to sustainable rural development. We applaud the effort. Rural women, mostly farmers, represent about 25% of the world's population. They produce on average more than half of the world's food that's grown, and in Africa, they produce up to 80% of the food. And yet, women and girls have limited access to productive assets, including land, agricultural inputs, extension service, and microcredit. As a result, rural women and girls continue to become the most vulnerable to food and nutrition insecurity. Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, rural women spend 13 to 18 hours a day on heavy workload, grinding floor, fetching wood and water over long distances, and often at personal risk, wading and digging. Women also have the most important responsibility, and that is to look after the future generation, the children. It's widely understood that the early stages of life are the most critical for the future mental and physical development of individuals. Despite the critical role of women play in rural agricultural and managing the family food security, their participation in agricultural planning and decision-making and national policy formulation is often marginalized. Colleagues and friends, there could be no sustainable economic and social development that does not fully integrate women and girls. Empowering rural women and girls is empowering society. We must redouble our efforts to promote the empowerment of women and address the political, social, and economic factors that constrain them. We need to support rural women in a way that will achieve a sustained positive impact on their self-esteem, income generation, and ability to retain control and use of their earned income. Rural women need to be supported to increase their productivity, improve on the quality of their commodities, and gain a voice in decision-making around all aspects of the agricultural value chain from production to marketing. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, addressing the challenges of rural women are facing requires genuine political commitment of national governments. The rights of women need to be protected and assured through national constitution, legal provisions, policies, strategies, and development programs. In my country, Ethiopia, we have a constitution that devotes a number of its articles to women's rights, equal participation, and empowerment. We have family law that ensures the protection of women's rights and privileges. The penal code puts stringent penalties for offenders with the aim of providing full protection of women's rights. The various policies of the country, including the national policy of Ethiopian women, the developmental social policy, the health policy, the educational and training policy, explicitly or implicitly safeguard the full participation and empowerment of Ethiopian women. To ensure the implementation of the legal and policy instruments that support women, my government has established the Ministry of Women, Children and Youth Affairs. One of the key responsibilities of my ministry is to design strategies to follow up and evaluate the preparation of policies, legislation, development programs and projects by the federal government organs to ensure that they give due consideration to women and youth issues. The above measures have led the country to notable achievements. Women's representation in the federal parliament has increased from 2.75% in 1995 to 27.8% in 2010. Their participation in the regional council grew from 30% to 50%. At the federal executive level, the proportion of women at minister, state minister, commissioner and ambassadorial rank has also shown significant increase. The country has also made significant progress towards on economy, health and education. This is very encouraging, but still more needs to be done. At present, my government is closely working with our partners such as UN Women, WFP, FAO and DFAD, and implementing various successful projects that have shown positive results on empowering women. The challenge is that most of these projects are small and cover a very small proportion of rural women and girls. I believe this program that we are launching today will provide a unique platform to share good practices incorporating gender perspective into the agenda of sustainable rural development. This initiative will provide us with the opportunity to develop concrete action for scaling up good practices and sharing experience with other countries. My ministry looks forward to working with you all to implement this program in Ethiopia. You have my personal commitment. I thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Minister, Your Excellency. It's a very interesting contribution. You made clear what you have done already so far in Ethiopia and what your experiences are, but you also made clear that it's necessary to launch this program in order to implement change in a structural way. One question for you, if you allow me. What, in your experience and in your vision, has made the biggest difference? Was it a policy instrument? Was it a program? But so far, what can be learned from Ethiopia?
In our case, we have different policies and different programs that can contribute towards to empower rural women. But what I want to suggest is that regarding to empower, agricultural-centered rural development is a crucial, agricultural-centered rural development policy is a crucial, because I would like to mention, based on our practices, for example, 85% of the total population in our country is mainly depending on agriculture. 50% of the total population are women. In this case, majority of the women are living in rural areas, so that 50% of the potential productive capacity are women, so that rural development cannot be realized without participation of women. So that, as to me, and based on our best practices, agricultural-centered rural development policy is crucial for rural women.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and honor to introduce to you Mrs. Leni Eugenia, Secretary General from the Indonesia Farmers and Fishery Society Organization. And I'm very happy and glad to give you the floor as an important rural leader. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, all. First of all, I would like to thank to WFO that have been facilitating me to participate at this event and for considering this voice of small farmers organizations in the developing country. My thanks also especially for Ms. Robin Anderson. She is a great person and have been done a lot of good work since the growth of WFO. Secondly, I thank you very much for FAO that have been consistent to have a great attention and brought this gender, especially for the poor woman farmer and rural woman as one of the priority. And I am very honored to be here today. And I thank you very much for the people that here together in the room. My name is Lani Eugenia. My last name Eugenia is taken from Eugenia aromatica, that in the biology term means clove. Clove is a species usually used for ingredients in food and also as raw material for pharmacy, cosmetic, and etc. So I came from a clove family farming, a village in southern part of Banten province, Indonesia. I was executive secretary of WAMTI, Indonesian Farmer and Fisher Society Organization, and have been in service since 2008. During my duty in WAMTI, I had a lot of experiences, especially the difficulty in gathering women farmers to participate at a farmers' forum. I often experience an uncertain condition in which their expected participation suddenly cancelled. It is very unfortunate for women group because of the time constraint and no other choice. At the end, the place is replaced again and again by men farmers. This is just a picture how hard and difficult to mobilize women farmers. The second thing that we have been facing is after they're already in the room, they seem lost their confidence to speak, express what their feelings, their experience, even their needs. They are there in the room, but silent like a statue. So that's my problem. Maybe yours and maybe maybe us also. So I would like to acknowledge you the journey of establishing Puan Tani, an Indonesian women farmers and rural women organization. Passing through the challenge long before the initiative to establish Puan Tani as an autonomy body of WAMTI, we have been done some approaches that finally brought us to decide to establish an autonomy daughter organization. We never stopped to finding out the women champion in rural areas, as they could be a potential woman actor in their local region and the key to develop the networks and rural women partners. Secondly, together with the women actor in rural areas, we developed networks and encouraged them to be more and more widely spread the transformation of network spirit. As we see that they are began to develop, then we think that we should organize them in a specific woman body. I would like to describe the situation in the ground that in some rural areas, actually there are many rural women have a common interest to unite together in the groups within their community, within their capacity. Except doing farming, they also do some social, economic and valuable activities like utilize together the biodiversity to be a product and sell them as a community product, made a craft from unsold fish skin, saving the money together in the community, etc. These communities are actually strong, but they need to be empowered. So understanding the situation, we think about the institutionalized of it, how they can organize properly in the specific and coordinated organization at national and local levels. So they can be together stronger as a women collective movement to advocate the policies affecting them. Therefore, Puan Tani, an Indonesian women farmers and rural women organization, become a place and vehicle for this rural women movement. We are now enabling a fully participation of women farmers and rural women through Puan Tani. It wouldn't go through and replace again by men. It will be ensured that the decision-making process will be taken by women at all levels. So, in the same time, we enabling the environment to rise their leadership and open the opportunity of their fully participation through organization. We will emerge by ourselves. That's what we call from women for women. Another important matter is enhancing their active participation and capacity of their leadership, skill, etc. Because the socio-cultural shape in the rural areas from childhood mostly still barriers them to undermine women's self-confidence and assertiveness. So we should more and more do empowering women farmers and rural women in terms of their capacity development throughout adequate education, training, sharing experience to the exchange, consultation, promotion, etc., and included the motivation and personality education. So ladies and gentlemen, as we together have known the main and classic issue of the constraint, both of their presence or their silent voices is about a domestic matter, and in my case, is also the permission from their men. This is not a secret. Then I myself is very experienced also in my own life at home, how I'm struggled so much to face this matter just because men do not want to understand or they have a misunderstanding about the gender concept. If we go outside, so it seems that we have done a mistake. This situation, the main perception and restriction they have made could be unsocially influencing the woman mindset and affirm them that, oh yes, I have already done a mistake. Otherwise, we do something contribution for family and the community. Or men sometimes compare with the benefit. What are the benefits that you can get if you are outside home? If it's less, then you better inside home. It shows that there is still remaining misunderstanding of views or perception about the gender concept itself. It is not already clear understanding by some communities, especially in the rural area. Facing these challenges, we don't want to let the rural women struggle alone to make their men understand well. It should be an effort to have a support and recognition from other components in every level of individual, family, community, and state. Sometimes talking about gender will bring men into a negative thinking, as if women will run to get their ambition. Meanwhile, behind the successful of rural women movement is also come from the support of their men. So what we have done is sometimes we have to forget for a while to mention about gender in a general term, but in our case, we can use the term of harmonization. In some ways, in approaching the recognition of men about the women activities, to raise awareness of means to trust that the women organization will also benefiting family, and not to be afraid that it will disturb and only benefiting women, but also benefiting family and the community. So that is what we call from women for family and rural community. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk about also about the effective policy in empowering rural women economically. Empower means give the power or enable. Rural women empowerment programs should make them more critical and independent in thinking and acting, create dynamic, and not depend them as a fragile and unsustainable. Policy for the long-term strategy should be able to seek sustainable empowerment through the advisory process of enhancing the capacity and institutionalize. For example, in a rural area, there is a community of fishery families. They often have an unsold fish that finally become washed. Then, rural women together in a group utilize this to make a fish crisps. What policy intervention is? Assist them to enhance their capacity in various products of fish crisps, then assist and give the group and the community advisory services to be more institutionalized by generating a collective enterprise or even a cooperation. In this case, the impact of the policy will improve the quality of women entity to be more institutionalized and organized. The program should be a relation of some factors that are affecting the women's group dynamic, like member characteristic, empowerment pattern, and the social environment. To adopt this affirmative policy on women empowerment, we may firstly identify the local characteristic and the existing condition of women's productivity and dynamic, and also the policy umbrella of its national and local government. The last but not least, the rural women empowerment should be optimized the utilization of local potential that best fit or appropriate with the local community and all. So we are now have not only women for women, but women for women, women for family, women for community, and women for nation, and women that could become a center to solve the global hunger and poverty. Thank you very much.
Thank you Thank you very much. You'd like to replace gender for harmonization. Well, we will think about it. But first I have a question. I noticed that almost 40% of the participation, you are a male, men. Mrs. Eugenia, can I ask you, what is the main role that men can play in order to achieve gender? I mean, they are involved, and it's very good that all of you are here. They are all playing a key role in their own organization, or in decision making, or in governments, or in private sector, or in non-governmental organization. So, please, what can they do?
Yeah.
What should they do?
Yeah. Firstly, men could become a strategic partner for women leaders in achieving the goal of rural women development, especially in finding and analyzing problem till getting the solution. Secondly, a partnership in a kind of sharing function to develop a plan of solving the rural social economic problem. For example, we do as my speak before then, that we do not want to let the rural woman struggle alone. So what we try to do is have a joint across with another institution like the Board of Family Planning, Department of Social Services, and other sector. Yeah, so join across.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This is only one first step. We will come back on this, of course, later, and every day we are thinking and acting in the field of gender. Now it's my great honor to introduce the chair, one of the chairs of the Gender Network in and from the Rome-based agencies, Her Excellency Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mrs. Temina Janjua. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just to let you know that I'm one of the chairs, the co-chair. The other co-chair is the ambassador herself. So we are both on the podium, right? Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, Director General FAO, President IFAD, Executive Director WFP, who was amongst us and pushed many things through earlier on, and is now sitting on the other side, so to say, but very much a part of the Gender Network as well. On behalf of the Rome-based Gender Network, I have the great honor and privilege to participate today in this launch of the UN Women, FAO, IFAD, and WFP joint program on accelerating progress towards the economic empowerment of rural women. Rural women are the worst victims of poverty and its attendant ills such as disease, malnutrition, malnourishment, and lack of education. Rural women fare worse than rural men and urban women and men for every MDG. This has been quoted by the fact sheet that's been circulated to all of you as well. This is a significant concern as rural women can be key contributors to poverty reduction, food and nutrition security, and the achievement of all MDGs. This is also important at a time when climate change and environmental degradation are fast affecting our capacity to produce more for greater food security. Rural women, agricultural workers, are often at a disadvantage as compared to their male counterpart in terms of structural constraints that include access to critical resources such as land, agricultural inputs, finance and technology, and many of the other things that our great panelist right here, Lani Eugenia, has referred to earlier. In order to make it possible for rural women to have access to these resources, it is imperative to launch multi-pronged efforts by taking into account political, social, cultural, legal, as well as economic aspects of women empowerment. There is also need to focus on the education and the health of rural women and girls. We therefore welcome the comprehensive UN system response in support of the economic empowerment of rural women and girls. We hope that the 5-year pilot program based on joint actions by UN Women, FAO, IFAD and WFP will help generate lasting and wider scale improvements in the livelihood of women and rights of rural women and girls as envisaged in the pilot countries. The results of the pilot will help pave the way for expanding such programs wherever they are needed or wherever the countries concerned feel that the results have been concrete and can be taken on board. We agree that the programs should inter alia include effective strategic policy and pragmatic responses that will help build the productivity potential of women smallholder farmers, improve their access to assets, resources and services, and expand their income opportunities and access to high-value product markets. The 4 goals of the joint program are laudable, but goals that can only be achieved through the full and effective participation of the countries involved in the pilot project. We wish them all success. The Rome-based gender network is focused on ensuring that through our work in the 3 Rome-based organizations, the centrality of the role of women in agriculture and food security is not only assured, but also pursued relentlessly. Economic growth, social progress, and sustainable development can only become possible with the full and effective participation of rural women at all levels. We wish all success to the participating countries and the organizations. It is a laudable effort, and we look forward to seeing the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair of the Rome-based Gender Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming towards the end of this meeting, because we also have to think about your and my own food security and nutrition before the official meeting of CFS is restarting. But before we do so, I have one request from the holder representative of Woken to make a very brief statement. And I was forced to allow, which I do with pleasure. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and to all the distinguished panelists. Thank you and congratulations to the UN agencies for the collective effort in putting this important side event together. I believe that we have already achieved a great deal as seen in the joint program, including getting women voices heard, but a lot has still to be done. Rural women play a very vital role in MDG Goal 7 of ensuring environmental sustainability. I would like to focus on women's participation in decision-making in agriculture and climate change. I could not but fully agree that institutional change and flexibility in the inclusion of women and girls in decision-making could address an effective and viable implementation of food security, especially in a changing climate. Woken would therefore like to use this occasion for all stakeholders to endorse in the Policy Roundtable on Food Security and Climate Change Decision Box Item 2E, the second bullet point, to support CSO, especially the small-scale producer organizations and women's farmers organizations, to fully and actively participate in decision-making and the implementation of food security policies, programs to address climate change. Thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Thank you very much. But you addressed this in the wrong meeting. This is the next round table, but you did it, which is clever of you. We never can end a meeting like this without closing remarks, and it's my great pleasure and honor to hand over the micro and to invite the President of IFED to make his closing remarks. Mr. Canayo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. First, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Your backing of this important new initiative to speed up the pace of economic empowerment for poor rural women is crucial. You may say that economic empowerment is development speak. But allow me to translate it. Economic empowerment means three things to rural women: more money, self-esteem, more status, and more decision-making power. Together, those three things can drive sustainable transformational change in the lives of rural women, their communities, and their countries. And this is what we are aiming to achieve through the new joint program, Real Lasting Change. Particularly, I'd like to thank the panelists, members of the audience, for sharing their perspectives, their knowledge, and their conviction. My special thanks to Her Excellency Zainabu Tadesse from Ethiopia for bringing her experience and insights to this discussion. IFAD will be coordinating the joint program's work in Ethiopia together with UN Women, and we look forward to a fruitful and productive collaboration. We celebrate Rural Women's Day every year in Rome on the 15th of October. But this year's launch of the new joint program makes today's celebration particularly special. After a year of preparations and launches in New York and Rome, now the real work begins. The consultative workshops in the 7 countries scheduled from now until the end of the year are a vital first step. Work to engage partners and stakeholders has already begun. In Ethiopia in particular, I know that the agencies are already cooperating and sharing best practices. The most important participants at the planning workshops will of course be rural women themselves, their organizations and their representatives. Each country's work plan for the joint program must be rooted in local realities and focused on the challenges that rural women face in their daily lives. At the workshops and during planning process, we must ensure that we do not listen only to the voices of those women who are easy to hear, those who say what we expect, those who speak our language and use familiar words. We must also listen to the voices of women who have been excluded or marginalized by race, by age, by caste, or disability. We must listen to the voiceless, those whose stories are harder to hear, for whatever reason, and those whose stories are not what we expected and not on our agenda. This will not be easy. But real change is inclusive change, and that is what we must aim for. The last group of people I would like to thank are not here today. In the short video that closes this event, Fateh, Edna, Ina, and Shwige share their stories, their hopes, and their ambitions. I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to these inspirational women. They may be worlds away from us, but they and many millions like them are at the heart of today's event. Their aspirations are an inspiration to others.
If you take one thing away with you from this short occasion, let it be their needs, their courage, and their dignity. I would like to close by expressing the hope that we can count on your continued support. If we are to succeed, we must stand together and work together in this ambitious drive to reach rural women around the globe with the tools for lasting change. Thank you for your participation and attention.
My husband is not strong enough to support me. Since I got married, I've had 5 children and work is hard. Since we got irrigation, we have good farmland and I ask people to plow the land for me. Before the irrigation, my only source of income was firewood and charcoal, which I took to the market and I supported my family with the money that I got from that. Now, thank God, the situation is good. It's better. Once you have water, you can produce whatever you like. Unlike earlier times, our livestock never dies. Even physically, we are much better.
What I like about WFP is that they have taken us to different places and we have learned a lot. They always talk to us about the future, about new projects. We learn how to control pests and about new varieties of seed that yield more. And we can share that information with other farmers. I like telling them about the things that we have learned. Once I met a man on a bus and I encouraged him to sow his seeds the same way that we do now, so that he could have better results. This morning I was on the bus and he said to me, "Look, I planned it the way that you told me to. And look how well the crop is coming out. I'm going to be able to plant beans in the street," he said. And after, I'm going to tell you how much my yield was.
My biggest challenge every day is to wake up early in the morning, to wander through the bush to find leaves to sell, and be able to feed my children for the day. I would like to do business. I used to sell fish and tomatoes, but with these never-ending crises, I have lost all my money. My dream is to have startup money to begin my business and depend less on handouts.
Well, I want to see closer health facilities to help women deliver babies close to home. And my dream is to give the knowledge I have received to my children about how to preserve our land from soil erosion. So that, like in this place here, we can have better fields to grow more food.
I would like to tell the world that they should be more concerned about farmers. I would tell them that there are people who, today in these times, have lost too much. There are farmers who are not able to continue this year because of how much was lost last year in the drought. I would ask them to offer a solution to this, that they offer financial support for the people, not handouts, but money that will help them to move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation. We trust on your commitment. Thank you so much. This meeting is closed.